Hello everybody, welcome to week number 2. Now in this brief video, I will be walking you through the week number 2 tasks as well as some of the module pages to serve as a refresher to your orientation so that we can all be sure that we're all on the same page for the rest of the quarter at least, I hope. As you can see, we're now on the home page, and listed here are your week number 2 deliverables, and below here you have last week's, and this will go away when Sunday is over, so you only see the top ones here. And as you see, for week number 2 we're working on chapters 11 and 12, two chapters this week, plus there will be a midterm exam at the end of the week. Your deliverables are your usual login for check and also check in for the week, due either on Monday or Tuesday. There's going to be also your single posting in either the chapter 11 or chapter 12 discussion threads. Obviously, the more you engage and the more you post, the more you respond, the better experience in learning the material. Then there's also your chapter 11 reading check and homework. They are both due on Thursday in MAL, and then your reading check 12 and homework 12 will be due on Sunday also in MAL. Let me go into the module, and for most of you this is nothing new, but I just want to make sure that everybody else that might still be a little confused about the process knows how to approach the module. So as you can see, there's a initial sort of administrative section of the module, which is the A section. Then there's also the content here for chapter 11, and then below here will be content for chapter 12. And then there's also another section this week, because there's a section that relates to the exam. Now I'm just going to go to the pages that relate to chapter 11 just to illustrate how to approach it just in sequence. Here's the overview page. It has the agenda that I just showed you on the home page. You can skip the weekly to do. There's nothing really there, but resources has some good handouts and some PowerPoint slides you might want to look into for each of those chapters. Here's the 11 resources, and here's the chapter 12 down here. Moving on, here's the attendance check. Now my view is different than yours, but in the case, you're going to be able to type in here and then submit Monday or Tuesday, and you're done with that part of the class. Really easy. Next will be your lecture notes. I can click on the top. I like to click on the top link to now kind of kick out the lecture notes into its own web page. It's bigger. Notice that this specific lecture notes has 4 sections: the introduction, measuring and recording current liabilities, measuring and recording payroll transactions specifically, and then contingent liabilities. So if you go to each of these sections, you can do that way. You see that in the introduction, you've got some notes that relate to the lecture with the learning objectives. Under each, you have some videos that you should actually look into, especially the ones that are beneath each of these learning objectives. This is the way you learn the material. And then below here, you have section 2. You've got some definitions, and then some of my notes and lecture, I would call them basically responses to questions that I have received prior in other classes and in other years. And so I know, for example, that people are going to ask me about interest, how to calculate it. So I've given you this example here. You can actually access and review along with some of my notes. There's another one here for how do you account for kind of the standard basic transactions that relate to current liabilities. And here's one for payroll. And you also have, in this case, a table that shows you all of the different rates and different limitations, which you're going to learn about in chapter 11. If I go to the bottom, I can go to the next lesson. This is about measuring and recording current liabilities. I'll give you an example. Here's some typical transactions, and then here I'll show you how to solve them, both the measurement and the journal entry. Then you go to the lecture number 3. Again, there's some questions that I've received in the past, and this is my way to explain each of these. I mean, some people have questions always about limits, and so here I'm using the Social Security tax limits to explain how you approach or how you think about applying limits. And so here are 3 scenarios. There's also one that relates to not just the Social Security tax limit, but also the FUTA and SUTA. This is from the employer side. This one relates to booking, based on limits, booking the payroll tax journal entry at the end of the year. And then this one is a related one at the beginning of the year. There's a little distinction that you learn about in the week. And there's also one here for payroll. This one looks at the payroll register, how you summarize all your employees' amounts for payroll, and then how you journalize them down here. And lastly, there's a portion here that relates to contingent liabilities. This is pretty simple, so I'll leave that up to you. Okay. Now, at any point, if you have questions, obviously you're going to be able to post those questions inside of the discussion threads, which is the next items here. Oh no, that's not true. I forgot about the homework. There is a homework, obviously, and give me a second. I'm going to look for this. Here's the textbook. I'm going to give you an example of how you approach the homework review. If you don't know already, if you go to the back of chapter 11, there will be some problems. Given this, the given information, this is actually 11-17, which is I just chose this one. So here's the given, and if you go to the module under the homework page, you'll see here's the same problem, but here's the answer key. So if I click on that link, it gives me the page with the answer key. Now this is pretty simple, so kind of self-explanatory. So review this, and you should then be able to respond to the same question under your homework inside of MAL. Now, at times, the answer might not be that obvious, so in that case, I will provide some additional notes right on the page. At times, I give not just notes, but also Excel handouts, or even at times some movies on certain problems that are a little more complicated. Now, if the link doesn't go directly to the right place, notice at the bottom here, they have these tabs, and that's how you find the problem as well. Now when you do that, you can then go into your discussion threads. This is not yours. This is in my view. You don't see this page. So here's the discussion thread for the intro portion. And so you have the same thing that you saw before under the lecture notes. I just take out a piece of it and present it here, and you can hear some of the questions. You can just then respond to them down here, as you've done already for chapter 10. So I'm going to just scroll all the way out into, I'm going to just go to the module just to make it a little briefer. So once you do that, going back to this, you here in these threads that we would just add, the following item would be the reading check and the homework. If you go into that from here, you should be able to view the embedded homework here from MAL inside of the module. So you can take it here, or you can go out, log into MAL directly outside of Canvas, and access the very same thing there. So either way, doesn't matter which way, the scores will be the same. It's the same source of your scores. I just transfer your scores to our Canvas gradebook within about a week after you actually submit each of these items. Here's the one for the homework, and again, here you only see the homework that is actually assigned. In the homework page that I showed you before, the keys are for almost every homework in the back of the chapter. I would say about half of them sometimes. It's not all of them. But only the ones that are assigned are part of your homework inside of MAL. By the way, if I go into, let's say, this one, it will be the same problem with different numbers as the one that you reviewed under the homework page. The other thing I want to mention here to remind you is that if you don't understand the homework key and how they solved it, you can always come to the actual problem inside of your homework in MAO, and under this feature here, you can go look into help me solve this, and this will walk you through the problem. It's a very useful tool to relearn, or to actually learn how to solve each of these problems. And having said that, I can move on then to what is next. We're starting now chapter 12, and again, it will be the very same kind of approach. And so I'm just going to scroll down. I don't want to go back into those pages. You can do that on your own. Here's some pages, the homework review and the lesson for, actually, that should be gone. That's not yours. That's mine only. Here's your chapter 12 lecture notes, the answer keys for chapter 12, a couple of discussion threads for chapter 12, reading check 12, homework 12, and then you have the midterm exam page here. Once it opens here on Friday, you'll be able to access this exam, and it will be open or accessible from Friday through Sunday night. And once you're in, you have a couple of hours to submit it, one try. Now, before that, there's also a practice exam. If you refer to the announcement, it will give you some detail on that, and that will be open, the practice exam, from today all the way down, all the way to Thursday night. Both exams are not going to be open at the same time. So first the practice until Thursday, and then the actual exam opens on Friday. They will not be open in parallel. Remember that. Plan accordingly. If you have questions regarding the practice exam, which is kind of the same thing as the midterm, there's actually a few more questions in the practice exam than in the actual problem and then in the actual exam, but they're basically the same problems in the same exam. But if you have some questions on the practice exam, place them under the pre-M1 question thread. After you take the exam, starting on Monday morning, you can then use a post-M1 question thread if you have questions about the actual exam. And then you have the usual summary review and the week 3 preview. So we're done. That is the overview for week number 2. Hopefully it's useful. Enjoy the week.